call this a preface for all you grammar police that just freaked out by me saying it that way. This is a little message I wanted to put at the beginning of the video here after I have done everything and gone through and worked with these sublimation blanks. There will be a link in the description for these. However, if you intend to use these heavy duty or give them as gifts, I would find something higher quality. If you're just starting out, this is a great inexpensive thing to practice on, or if you just want to use them for decorations. So with that said, let's get on with it. Sublimating on oven mitts and pot holders. And by pot holders, I mean for holding hot pots and pans, not to hold the recreational herb, as some call it. Got a package of them here. Going to do a little demonstration coming up. Hi, I'm Roger. Welcome to the loft above the shop. Might get a little noisy up here. Got 3D printers running, got air conditioning running because it's hot outside. So what I'm going to demonstrate here are sublimation on oven mitts and pot holders. And I bought a package of them on Amazon, which come vacuum sealed. This is a 12-piece set. Back when this came in the envelope, I thought, what in the world is that? So we're going to get these opened up, and we'll come up with a couple designs, and I'll show you how to sublimate onto these. It's pretty straightforward. It's a great beginner project if you're just getting into this. You can customize these to use as gifts, or maybe just for yourself. Let me get these unpacked, and we'll see exactly what we got in here. Okay, I got them unpacked. Once you unpack them, they re-inflate to their normal size. So you get 7 pot holders and 5 oven mitts. Why it's not 6 and 6, I don't know, but that's the way it is. So the oven mitts, they're not huge. One side is silver, one side is white. This will be the side to be sublimating on. I have a large hand. I wear a size 11 glove. So if you're curious if these are big enough to wear, or if you have big hands, yes, it fits. So we'll get on to coming up with a couple designs here to put on these. On your pot holders, the area you can print on is about 6 1/4 square. And on your oven mitt, you'll have to work out a pattern unless you're going to be just printing up over here. That area on the main part is roughly 4 by, my ruler's long enough. On the ruler, 4 by 9, 4 by 10 in that area. So I'll come up with a couple designs here and we'll sublimate a couple of these. Yeah, I've got my first one set up for oven mitts, and I can put 2 of these on one page, and I'll show in a minute here how to bring all this in and do this in detail. But I will be sending this to my sublimation printer, and I will mirror it at the printer and not here. We'll do File, Print, and I'll use the 2800. I've got 3 sublimation printers up here, but we'll use this one. And we want to go to Preferences, and we are going to be doing Premium Presentation Paper Matte and Quality High. Of course, I'm going to leave it in color even though this is just black. We want to go to Print Preview, and up here to More Options, go down here to Mirror Image, turn off bidirectional printing or high speed depending on what your printer says. We'll click OK there, we'll click Print, and the preview should come up. Okay, here's our print preview, and as you can see, it's mirrored. So all I need to do is hit Print. That sends it to the printer. Now while that one is printing, I will show you how to set one of these graphics up. Go to File and New. Brings up a blank page. And again, this is Inkscape. It's free software. You can download it from Inkscape.com. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just like using it. I want to go to Document Properties because it's in A4 right now. We're going to change that to US letter. That's the size of my sublimation paper. And if you want to leave it in millimeters, you can. Otherwise, I prefer to work in inches right here. Okay, then just click that off, and I like to have a little bit of a layout grid. So So if I go up here to view, I can click on page grid, and I've got this to be able to lay out my graphics. So now we want to bring an image in here. So we'll go File, Import. That's what I just did. So we'll go to Making Spirits Bright. A little bit of a Christmas theme on some of these. Bring in the SVG. Obviously that is too big for our pot holder. So if I measure that again, our sublimated area is 6 1/4 square. So we need to change the size of this. So up here you see a little padlock. You want to lock that so you can keep your graphic in proportion. So I'm going to change this to, I'm going to do up to 6. Give me a little wiggle room there. That'll bring this down to a manageable size, and of course I cannot get 2 of those on a regular notebook size piece of paper, but if I had legal paper I could. I don't have any loaded right now, so we'll just be using this. So here now of course you can save it if you like. Let's go up here to File and Save As. I'm going to put this in here as size for pot holder. That way I can just open it up again when I need it. So now next we'll go up here to File, Print. Use the same printer here. Back to Preferences. You can set your preferences in your printers or even on your computer, but I use this for several different things. Preview, more options, turn off bidirectional, mirror the image, okay, and we'll hit print. Now something you need to keep in mind if you're using one of these Epson printers, if the printer is in the process of printing and you go to print another document, you want that print preview, it's going to queue it, so that's not going to come up until the other document is finished printing. But in the meantime, I can actually make another one here. I'll show you this again. File, New, Document Properties. Change that to letter, inches. Do your page grid. File, Import. So we'll go up to the next one here. Let's do Muffin Like a Great Friend. Okay, now this one is a little bit undersized for what we want, so click this here again. Oh, there's my print preview. I can send that to the printer. So here we're going to enlarge in this. That's what's nice about SVG files. So we're going to make this 6. Makes it roughly 6 inches square. It'll fit on our pot holder. Save as. File and print. In fact, I may send this one to my other printer. That already has most of the things already set. I'm going to print preview. Mirror the image. Okay. Print. Of course, you can see there it's mirrored. Print and send it to the printer. Okay, for the prep, there's a couple different ways you can do this. I already have one oven mitt prepped here. I'll set that off to the side. And if you find that your blanks are horribly wrinkled, you may want to give them a little press first. So here's what you add. So a couple ways you can do it. Lay it on here like this and just tape around the edges, but you're going to need to know what's square. You're going to have to kind of peek under the corners. Of course, if you get it square on the paper, the pot holder will be square. But you want to make sure you get your graphic not over the seam here. You go side to side and up and down. And of course, you'll be having the silver side up if you're using this particular blank. Then you want some heat tape. And it doesn't stick to the fabric real well, so make sure you put firm pressure on that. And do all 4 sides. And now when you press this, this side will be down. And make sure you adjust your heat press for the thickness of this. You want a medium firm pressure, but you don't want to just literally smoosh it. Smoosh is a technical term, by the way. I also did one of these in color just for fun. A little Halloween theme there. Now for the oven mitts, we put 2 of them on one page, so I'm going to need to cut that. I'm also going to take off a lot of the excess bottom. Now the oven mitts here, I did press them because they were so wrinkled. I was afraid that it would end up with a bad transfer. So now all you have to do is line your graphic up. Make sure everything is on the mitt where it needs to be. And straight. Okay, there's something I just noticed. Hopefully you can see that. See that little black mark on that paper there? If I were to tape this on there, that would transfer and that would spoil the transfer. Always look at your paper, make sure you don't have any stray ink on there anywhere. It doesn't belong. Let's trim that off. Okay, we're ready for the heat press. Okay, I'm using a smaller heat press today because this is a small project. I didn't need to fire up the big one. A piece of protective paper on the bottom. Your first one on there. The time and temperature, 360 degrees for 60 seconds. Piece of paper on top. Remember to wear gloves. I'm taking this off because your pot holder will be hot. Well, there's the first one. Load up another one here. Now, this one here was cut down to size just for the pot holder. Baking spirit spray. And next I'm going to do one of the oven mitts. So same process. I already adjusted my pressure to make up for the thickness of that. Same time and temperature. Okay, this here is one of the colored ones. Ghoulishly good cook. If you have all these prepped ahead of time, you can move right along if you're going to do a bunch of these. This here is this is pot holder again. See, there's muffin like being a great friend. There's a lot of catchy things you can put on these. This one is a custom combination color and black, and you didn't see me create this, but I created it in Inkscape using some graphics I own. The problem I'm having with these mitts is the wrinkles. We'll see how this one comes out. Now I still have a wrinkle. That is the problem I'm having with these mitts. You see where the wrinkle right there, even though I had pre-pressed that. So I may try another one yet, but this would be the third reject now because of them wrinkles. Can't seem to keep them out of that. There's where you can see these wrinkles in there. I thought about my pre-pressing before would have had taken that out, but they still tend to wrinkle. So there, that got a lot of it out, but not all of it. Still have a wrinkle in here, partly because of the way it's made. So that's about as good as you can get that. I'll try another one on it, we'll see what we get. Here, this one here is wrinkled on the other side, over by the thumb, which is not quite so bad. You don't have as much graphic over there as you do over in this area. Still have this bad wrinkle right there. And I just can't seem to get rid of that one. So if I place the graphic just right, I could work around that, but that's kind of a nuisance. Okay, I prepped 2 more of these mitts with the color and the witch on it, and I think I have that where the wrinkle will be in between the graphics. There's no way to get these wrinkles out completely, which is kind of a disadvantage of this brand, I guess. I'm going to do these here both at once. Yeah, our first one here, it worked out around this wrinkle in the middle. Still got a little wrinkle up there, but it's not in the graphic. So this one here came out okay. There again, I was able to work around that wrinkle. So this one came out okay. So there's a little tutorial on sublimation on the pot holders and oven mitts, and a review of this particular brand of oven mitt. I don't remember what the brand is, but it will be at the beginning of the video. Of course, you would have seen that by now. It will also be in the description. There'll be a link of where to get them. However, the caveat is these wrinkles that you just cannot get out of these oven mitts. The pot holders themselves are fine. They're not extremely heavy duty. This is a very inexpensive set. Set of 12, it was under $20, I'm pretty sure, so it was very, very cheap, but it's something good if you're to practice on if you're just getting started out, and once you get everything perfected, move up to perhaps a higher quality. I was able to work around the wrinkles on these here by splitting my graphic up to get away from this particular wrinkle. I think if you had a better quality oven mitt, and that would, of course these are not all that thick either, but they'll work for quick things in and out of the oven like a cookie sheet, but I wouldn't be trying to hold a cast iron pan handle real long with one of these, because I'm sure that heat is soaked through there. I did play with one of the spoiled ones a little bit around the heat press by putting my hand on it to see how long I keep there for probably 30 seconds before the heat really started to come through and became uncomfortable. So quality wise, yeah, they're so-so, but it's something good to practice with. The methods will be the same if you get a higher quality unit here. The same methods, the same temperature, the same time, and the same way you lay out your graphics. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. I'm Roger in the loft above the shop. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.